we do have a lot to talk about today when it comes to WWE SmackDown. Thank goodness for that. Imagine if we didn't. We would just stand here and look into the abyss. Also, hello my friends, welcome to the only wrestling review show you do need ups and downs. And even though the event is already going to take place by the time you see this, I would just like to apologise to the people of Belfast for not being able to attend the WhatCulture live event today. There was a big fire at Heathrow yesterday, and all my flights got cancelled. But somehow I'll make it up to you. Also, just a quick reminder, I am your People's Progress Proteus Champion, 6-0 with this bad boy now, and I have another match a week tomorrow, so make sure you watch it on Triller, or come down to the damn thing. You can even use codes. Golden up for standing tickets, and golden down for seated tickets. I know that's not one of our phrases, but what you gotta do, let's up those down. We were in Italy though for the first time in 18 years when it does come to a WWE TV show, so it's a bit like a lottery. Who is gonna get the first big pop? Randall Keith Orton. He just soaked in the cheers. It's a good thing he did, because he didn't get to say nothing when Kevin Owens walked out. He's like, listen to me, Randall, I know you're upset with me. I didn't mean to pile driver you. I definitely meant to pile driver Cody. I definitely meant to pile drive Sami Zayn. But for you, I just got a bit angry, I'm sorry. Teo tried to justify this by saying it was just my anger coming out. And you know all about that, Orton. It basically used to be your defining character trait. That's a bit like, Kevin, don't go in that direction. It's not going to help you. I mean, it's a bit like telling somebody as you stab them, you must understand because you've seen a knife before. When Owens went totally nuts, he was like, listen, we can get past this. I do apologize. And we should go after the WWE Tag Team titles. I mean, they shouldn't do that. We've already got about 47 teams going after him. He also thinks it's a great idea because then Randy Orton doesn't have to become the guy that kicks people's in their skulls. Because again, the last time he was doing that, it all went bad. So essentially, this was Kevin Owens being like, please don't kick me in my face. It looks terrible. Now, Randy pretended he was going to listen to this when he was like, I don't care about your half-assed apology. And all I do want is to take my boot and punt it right into your skull. So as always, wrestling conversations are always perfectly normal and legal. Orton then took Owens' catchphrase and changed it because he called him Bitch Owens Bitch. Which actually doesn't make any sense. And ultimately, Randy Orton is very happy that Kevin Owens did do this because now he's got those voices in his head and they are telling him to have a match with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. It's like, dude, that's not voices in your head, that's management. Triple H has tweeted out the official graphic as well, so this match is on. I still kind of feel like it should have a stipulation, but at the same time, Kevin Owens has been through the wars recently, so maybe he should just have a normal one-on-one match. Listen, this was fine, this was perfectly okay, and I am excited about that, but it did kind of sum up SmackDown overall. It was just a little bit meh. Yeah, fine, okay, decent, whoops-a-nanny, but I am going to give it an up, because ultimately it did its job. When randomness came to WWE, I mean, it did tie into what we did last week, but who had on their 2025 bingo card Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Jimmy Uso and Damian Priest? Now, the strangest thing with all this is that it was pretty damn short. And the bell went ding ding, then it went ding ding again. And of course, at one point, Jimmy Uso did a dive, 2025. And yes, now everyone's going, ha 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 ha, like M. Bison. He probably did that because Jey Uso flubbed up his dive on Monday. Like, that's not fair. Jey has literally screwed that thing up once. Give him a little bit of a pass. It was a very good dive. Priest just attacked Drew versus his entrance as well because he was so mad. Though actually, this was not the time to do it because Italy had decided, yes, we like this Drew McIntyre character. And they cheered him and they cheered him and they cheered him. Jimbo and Drew went at it as well. Once again, the fans were just cheering for McIntyre. And eventually Shinsuke got in there and he just started to boot people in the head. And honestly, like Damian Priest hit his version of old school, Drew McIntyre and Jimmy Uso were fighting on the outside. So much like he did 7 days ago, Damian just hit the big choke slam. 1, 2, 3. I was like, alrighty then. Because Drew McIntyre hates him, he also beat the living shit out of him for like the 4th time, whatever it may be. And yes, Italy were like, yes, yes, do it again. And it's not how an Italian talks, like a yes, do it again. I shouldn't have done it. It really does go back to that opener. Like, it was fine to watch, it was totally decent, it was totally okay, but we will probably never talk about this again. And if you are someone going, I don't know whether I should watch SmackDown today, well, you didn't really need to see it. So I shall give it an up, but it is a very thin up. When Braun Strowman in the back basically went up to LA Knight and went, raw! You should check out the match later, because whoever wins between me and Jade Fatu is going to be the #1 contender for the United States Championship. And I was like, all right, maybe I will. It was really weird. And then got a big recap of everything we have done between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton recently, when, because they had a brawl last week, WWE had gone, right, Tiffany, you're going to go in one room, and Charlotte, you're going to go in another room, and then we're going to draw a big line down the screen, and you shall each be given a chance to answer questions. Now, I've long said I felt like this feud needed some sort of fire lit beneath it, and I did feel like we achieved that on the last SmackDown. But here with this one, I mean, maybe it was just on me, but I thought it was a little bit of a swing and a miss. Now, Charlotte did cut Tiffany off straight away by going, I am the queen and I get to go first. But don't worry, because when you do tangle with me, I make sure everybody is increased to my level. But also, nobody cares about you, Tiffany Stratton, and all you did in 2024 was walk around with a briefcase. That's why she feels like Tiffany is totally delusional, thinking you could even be in my air, or something like that, when Stratton was like, dun, 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 here's a big reveal. You used to be my biggest supporter, Charlotte, and now look at you. I think that was meant to be like, I can't believe it. I was like, all right, good to know. They then started talking over each other, which is perfectly fine, because that is what normal human beings would do. When Tiffany was all like, Charlotte, you always find the hottest thing, and you pour water over it. Now, I can only imagine that Flair was calling an ad-lib here, or doing an audible, because she was like, all right, yeah, why don't you tell me what I do? Tiffany just went, well, I told you, you find the hottest thing, and you pour water over it. Tiffany then said something along the lines of the fans not wanting to accept Flair, and that's because now the WWE Universe runs on Tiffy time. I've been thinking about that for a while. That doesn't make any sense. So I really do think this is going to be the plus of this feud, because Charlotte was taking no prisoners here, but that's how you learn on the job, and by the end of the thing, Tiffany Stratton will have more experience, and she'll be all the better for it. It's also why I think Charlotte Flair should win at WrestleMania. Every time I say that, people are like, Simon, how dare you, you're meant to be one of us, as they flail their arms around like they are Elmo. But if you do a one and done, I just don't think you're going to get anywhere. Whereas if Charlotte does win and she shocks everybody, but then Tiffany has to win match 2, and in match 3 essentially blitz Charlotte Flair, not only will she have a bunch more experience, but I just think she would have leveled up and raised her game. And I actually thought this segment kind of drew a line under that, because Tiffany Stratton was perfectly fine here. It's not going to affect her energy in any particular way. But trust me, if you do this again in a year's time, I think she will nail it way better than this. Because ultimately, when you do break it down, like D-Generation X, it just wasn't for me. Like I said, I don't think it worked in the way it was intended. I do have to give it a down. When Braun Strowman defeated Jacob Fatu via disqualification, so I'm giving that a down too, mostly because it feels like this feud has been going on since 1772. A long ass time ago. I also can't work out whether we are going to do a multi-person US title match at WrestleMania, but I do feel like whatever we do for that championship, Jacob Fatu will be involved. And I said that back in November, and someone was like, Simon, you're such an idiot. And now it is proved to be true, so you should give me my Drew. And that rhymed, so it must be true. And I said Drew instead of do, and I just rhymed true with true, and essentially become Avril Lavigne. Thankfully, it still was fun, especially because everybody was behind Jacob here. And look, Braun Strowman is a big man that slaps man meat. So see Fatu just kicking around, going, get up, boy, get up. Well, he's just tremendous. He also threw him into the announce table and hit a Samoan drop, which is perfectly fine because he is Samoan. And here is what happens when you are Samoan and you hit a Samoan drop.
It's pal.
Miller with an avalanche in the corner, has him up on the shoulders. Miller has him up.
That's right, it's my version of the Samoan drop. But as I keep telling you, I don't call it the Samoan drop. I call it the drop. Goofy wrestling for life. Strowman kept trying to do his train move thingamajig, and eventually he was able to get it. But just as it looked like he was going to finish this thing off, of course, out came the bloodline. Here was Tamatonga. He ran distraction. And Solo Sikoa did hit the spike, but I presume he was trying to do this behind the referee's back, but he just didn't. The official was like, what do I look like? A goober? DQ. Now the story is that Jacob Fatu is most definitely annoyed at the bloodline, so maybe somehow that is going to tie into the United States Championship. And when they did go back to kick Braun's ass, LA Knight came out to make the save. And 1, I was like, why do you care? And 2, he had forgotten about the numbers game and he got beaten up too. Eventually, Braun Strowman was able to help when we did learn that next week, given he had won on a technicality, it is LA Knight versus Braun Strowman for the United States title. Now I tell you, if that one doesn't end in shenanigans, I will shave my head. But once again, it's just a copy and paste thing. It was all perfectly fine, it was all perfectly good, but did it get you excited and make you want to shout from the rooftops? No, it did not. It also kind of tags into SmackDown as a whole because it was a bit drab, but not in like a super duper negative way, which makes no sense, but we'll talk about that later. But once again, if you take this within the context it was presented to you, I mean, you do have to give it an up. But again, do you need to go out your way to watch this? No. Kathy Kelly then interviewed Liv Morgan and Raquel. I wear sunglasses now because I am a bad guy Rodriguez. And I tell you, these two are absolutely terrific. Liv especially is just brilliant at the moment, and she was all like, man, now I gotta go and whip Jade Cargill's ass because you knew we had nothing to do with that car attack. And did you say anything? No, you did not. I mean, she's right. Liv is impressed with Naomi's new attitude too, but ultimately, you can't get the job done either. That's why Liv Morgan is about to go whip Jade Cargill's ass. Jacob Fatu was then ruining the backstage area. And I was like, well, that's not fair, Jacob, is it? It's not the janitor's fault. You should go yell at Solo. Of course, that's what it comes down to, too. And Sakara was like, I didn't mean to do it. It was an accident. So you still could do this match at WrestleMania. Or like I say, maybe they will all fit into your United States title man. We'll have to wait and see. I then laughed out loud because Piper Niven beat Zelina Vega. But I have to say, I was over the moon about this. Because when Zelina had just walked up to Chelsea Green a week ago and gone, ha, geese title shot, or give me a title shot, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. She'll beat all of Chelsea Green's goons and she'll get to her. But no, she tried and failed at the first hurdle. And while I do like Zelina Vega, this was so damn refreshing because she didn't deserve a title shot. And she just went and found out. She's never also going to get mad at Piper getting wins because she never gets victories. And while Zelina did decide, I'm going to slap you to begin with, that was stupid. She got crushed. She also got stuck in the dreaded chin lock, and I was like, oh no, Zelina's Vega chin. Well, to be fair, it was more of a sleeper hold. When eventually she was able to come back with a 619 and a DDT for a 1-2-ooh. And that's, of course, when Chelsea Green and Albert Firefly, we've got a plan. And like all matches in WWE, we're most definitely going to jump on the ring apron. Now, it didn't actually work at all because Zelina was able to get another 619. But then, yes, the referee wasn't looking, so Albert just smacked her one as Piper Niven hit her running crossbody and she pinned her. I was genuinely a little bit stunned. So I found this super duper refreshing because we didn't follow wrestling tropes. Of course, somehow Zelina Vega will still get her title shot and I'll be like, man, I shouldn't have said anything. But on that alone, up. Otherwise though, there wasn't really that much heat here, just because even with all this, I don't actually think anybody thought Zelina Vega was going to win. And we need to do more with this United States Women's Championship. Like Chelsea Green and this group are so damn good, but we're not really diving in deep to a proper program. I don't get it, to be honest with you. Down. Jade Cargill then cut a promo and essentially said, Naomi, I hate you, and therefore you must die. Like, wow, she's really pissed off. Now, there is something weird about this, because as much as I like Jade Cargill, every time they do cut promos, I end up going, I think I side with Naomi here, just because she has become so hilarious. And nobody should do that. She essentially tried to kill this woman. Stuff's getting dark. This is when we got another tease, and you have to presume it is Aleister Black, although at the moment it is just a number 4. But do not forget, my friends, this did not air on Raw, so if it is Mr. Black, he is most definitely headed to SmackDown. When we may have had one of the best things of the night, it was Liv Morgan versus Jade Cargill. I really enjoyed it. It's just another tick for Liv as well, who helped Cargill so much here. I mean, she just totally understands the assignment and the balance between making sure she was on the front foot and getting her butt whipped. Well, it may have been perfect. I mean, Jade hit a bomb of power instantly when Raquel was casting distraction, which did allow Liv Morgan to get a backstabber. She then followed that up by throwing Cargill into the ring post and then did that laugh thing that she does. But once again, just worked. Liv also got the 3 amigos, so she was cooking when she jumped at Jade, who caught her in midair and essentially threw her halfway across the ring. Spinebuster then followed, and yes, the whole idea was, oh, Jade Cargill is going to win. When that Naomi teleported in from nowhere, and she kind of looks like Owen Hart circa 1998. Now, once again, this didn't work at all, even though Raquel Rodriguez and Naomi were trying to help, which of course was trying to protect Jade Cargill, when eventually the numbers didn't get too much. The referee was like, listen, Naomi, wait there one sec. Raquel, why are you wearing sunglasses? When Naomi got the tag team title, she smacked Jade right in the head. Morgan instantly hit the Oblivion. She got the 1, 2, 3. I don't want to be a nerd, but I popped big. I honestly thought she was going to lose, and there's no way Liv Morgan should be losing. Jade also has plenty of excuses here, and Naomi finally got one up on Jade here too, because she just absolutely pummeled her as she stood on the announce table and she posed. So yes, somehow I'm on Team Naomi, which makes no sense, because she is a mega heel, but she has just made enough changes so you can feel the difference So yeah, everybody in this, including Raquel Rodriguez, they knew exactly what to do and giving it a proper up. Drew then cut a promo and reminded everybody that Damian Priest was responsible for all of his woes, because every time when he was down on his luck, who would take advantage? It was Damian Priest. And as Drew said, am I not telling the truth? I was like, no, Drew, you actually are. He also told Priest to try and find him in London next week, which sounds like a horribly hard game of Where's Waldo, or Where's Wally, depending where you are based. When he turned around, he bumped into Seth Rollins, who was dressed a bit like a water fountain. Seth did a little bit of a laugh. They both walked away. And then there was an instant down after this, because the Street Profits have gone back to that old new theme they had, with a little bit of a rejig, but it's just not as good as their OG theme, so why do we keep doing this? Like, maybe the Street Profits prefer it, which I totally understand, but the other music they use just has some energy to it. This sounded like everybody else is on the roster down. They were able to cut a promo though, which I thought was long overdue, and they said, oh my gosh, it's been 4 years, but we are the Tag Team Champions once again. They also did their secret handshake, and look, I really like the Street Profits, and in terms of their in-ring stuff, they're on fire right now. When I almost died, because the Legado del Fantasma walked out and essentially said, we have surveyed this situation, and we don't like it. That is mostly because they would fancy being the Tag Team Champions, so why don't they get a shot right now? I was like, wait a minute, you tried and failed, you goobers. Pretty Deadly are the #1 contenders, when thankfully they came out and they said that. They were like, yes, I think you've forgotten here, we're next in line. And then got so damn silly because the Garzas were like, well, we're not going to step aside. Like, that's how it works. And if it is, why isn't everybody walking out saying, I would like a title shot? And someone else goes, no, you're not getting one. They go, you made a mistake there, I most definitely am. And then it got so ridiculous because Montez Ford was like, listen, we do have a contracted thingamajig with Pretty Deadly, so why don't we take on you, Angel and Berto, right now instead? I was like, if you were Pretty Deadly, you should sue. You'd be like, excuse me, we went through a bunch of matches to become #1 contenders. We may as well have been a bunch of losers. We then went right into the match. Before that, we did get a tease. Look at this. You see the picture on the screen right now. It's the second one of these we have got. That is quite clearly Miro. That's right, the former Rusev. Or maybe it's Ray Phoenix. We just don't know, friends. We're going to have to wait and find out. Now look, even though we did have a ridiculous path to get here, this match was still super duper fun. The Garzas are very good and the Street Profits are great. And we did that thing where they tried to throw Montez Ford off the top rope and he landed on his feet. Honestly, Angel and Berto acted like he turned into a ghost. We then got some dives because 2025 when Montez Ford missed a splash, but he came back with a spine buster. He tagged in Angelo Dawkins and that Mother Hubbard man. He is so good at a hot tag, he ran wild. The Garzas were doing really well as well though when they eventually hit Berto to the outside. They made sure they punched Santos Escobar for being an absolute dickhead. When, yes, Dawkins took one person down, Montez Ford hit the frog splash. Still your tag team champion. So I swear, if we do get a multi-man tag team match at WrestleMania and Angel and Berto are in this, I'm going to have a meltdown. But you can see where this one is going. It's an up for a match, and it's a down for everything around it. I appreciate all the effort that SmackDown has put into the tag team division, but when you try and follow the story, well, it's just a bit stupid. Paul Heyman then arrived at the building, so he was super duper whooper late when Pretty Deadly ran into DIY. And Tommaso Ciampa was all like, oh, hi, old friend. We're going to help you win the belt next week, so we can be the first in line. Of course, Pretty Deadly responded by saying, no, boy, because they want nothing to do with these guys. When the Motor City Machine Guns turned up and said, oh, DIY, we still don't like you. So even though there are so many teams, somehow this just feels like it's going round in circles. It doesn't make any sense. 2 + 2 = potato. It was mostly filler though because people were waiting for our big main event segment. Like WWE even paused for about 20 seconds before they hit play on Roman Reigns' music. Because here came our tribal chief. He also asked the fans to acknowledge him and he has not done that in a while. And he did say, I love you so much, as he explained his actions recently. CM Punk screwed him at the Royal Rumble, and that's why he screwed him in the cage match. And as for Seth Rollins, well, he tried to kill him at the Royal Rumble, which is why he tried to kill him last week on Raw. So it is all maths when it comes to Roman Reigns, and he was like, listen, I'm not going anywhere, so if somebody does want to get in my face, now is the time. Seth Rollins was clearly in the back. He said, audio guy, press play, I'm going out there. And he was super pissed at Roman because he's like, man, you just never get it. You never see the bigger picture. You should have let me take out CM Punk, not for dinner, because he is a danger to this business. Ultimately, though, when you do get into it, it's always been about you and it's always been about me. We don't need anybody else. And the Roman Reigns Seth Rollins book has been written since 2014, so maybe we should add another chapter. That's when Seth Rollins started to take his jacket off. Now, of course, the insinuation here is that they were going to fight. For some reason, it looked like he just wanted to get naked. CM Punk wasn't having that, though, because then he made his entrance to a massive pop, and he winked at Paul Heyman, so he knows what he's doing, when he went off on Roman Reigns. And he actually made a good point. He was like, Roman, I couldn't screw you at the Royal Rumble because it's every man for himself. He also reminded him that he had saved Roman's ass at the War Games, and he is still owed a favor by Paul Heyman, and the fact that when you do look at the records, neither of you have actually beat me without help. This is where he just went to Paul, oh, by the way, thank you for serving your tribal chief up on a silver platter. Heyman was like, what does that mean? It was nice and simple. CM Punk tackled Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins joined in, we had a brawl. The way Seth joined in as well was a bit like a kid that wanted to play Nintendo. This was so funny after this. CM Punk did the first beating up, so he stood on the announce table and he pointed at the WrestleMania sign. Seth Rollins then did a dive and he was in charge, so he pointed at the WrestleMania sign. When Roman Reigns used some of the still steps and everybody was down, so he pointed at the WrestleMania sign. So listen, if you are in the vicinity of a WrestleMania sign today, you must be careful. That gravitational pull will get you. That was cool because it meant this SmackDown went off air with them brawling, when afterwards on social media, we got told, oh, hi, we are going to do this triple threat match at WrestleMania, which I think is a big deal. And while this was very watchable, and while it did have a lot of heat, again, it kind of ties into SmackDown as a whole. It was just missing something. Now, that something will come in the next few weeks, the next few days, the next few whatever. And maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just tired, I don't really know. I suppose the best way to put it is that it just wasn't as far as I was expecting, even though CM Punk especially cut a great promo, and again, they acted like real human beings here. They didn't just stand in a triangle and go, oh, you talk good, sir, now you talk good, sir. It kind of felt like it was heated, especially when the big fight kicked off. So I am going to give it an up, and in terms of Jeopardy matches at WrestleMania, this one is right up there. So overall, SmackDown was a total mixed bag. And if I could give it a thumb in the middle, I would. You could probably never watch this and be perfectly fine on the road to WrestleMania. So I suppose the word of the day would be weird. It just felt a bit weird and I don't know why. But again, it's a positive peak show and you couldn't call anything bad on it. So I shall give it an up. Let's hope that next week we just take a little bit of a step in that direction. Now, of course, please do let me know what you thought about the show last night. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen for my ups and downs for Monday Night Raw. Just support as best as you can. I will see you soon.